spur of road from Onitsha, Uweri Road through Okija, Ihembosi, Afo Upo to Ezinifite in Newi South local government area of Anambra State. That contract was awarded in 2011, which is 10 years today, just 13.5 kilometers spur. Contractor is asking us to revise the contract by a review of 488,980,891 naira. The second one is the 20-kilometer dualization of Yenegoa Road Junction to Kulu, to Utuke, and to Bayelsa Palm in Bayelsa State.
Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu, on his part, said the council approved the sum of 10.7 million naira as augmentation for the completion of Middle Rima Valley Irrigation Project in Sokoto State. Adamu said the project has a potential of generating employment for almost 50,000 people, as well as enhancing food production when completed.
For the revised total cost of Phase 2 of the construction of Middle Rima Valley Irrigation Project, that's the completion of that project in Goroyo, Sokoto State. This contract was started in 1999 by the military administration then. The first phase was completed. It comprised of 873 hectares. And the Phase 2 of the project was started in 2007. And that is what we've been struggling to complete. We inherited this project. It's also an inherited project.
The minister said out of the government's target of completing the 116 inherited projects, 34 has been completed so far. And now, Senate President Ahmed Lawan has sworn in Agom Jarigbe as senator representing Cross River North Senatorial District. Senator Jarigbe, who is of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, took the oath of office on Wednesday at the start of plenary. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has sworn in Jarigbe as senator representing Cross River Senatorial District, who is from the People's Democratic Party. His swearing in comes in at the heel of ruling by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja, affirming him as winner of the December 5th, 2020 Cross River North Senatorial District by-election, replacing Stephen Odi, also of the PDP. Speaking to the media, Senator Jarigbe pledged to deliver quality representation for his constituents.
I've been in the House of Reps, and I make sure that they enjoy the democratic dividends, and I'm going to only expand my horizon to the other 3 LGAs which make up my senatorial districts. They are up for the best, I can assure them. Basically, human capital development and infrastructure.
And now, the Speaker of House of Representatives, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, reads before the House 2 bills on security sent by the President Muhammadu Buhari for considerations. First is the Bill 2021 on the control of small arms, light weapons and explosives for consideration, which is pursuant to Section 58 of Section 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The President also forwarded for consideration the Explosives Bill 2021 for consideration before the House of Representatives. The bill seeks to repeal the Explosives Act 1964 and to enact the Explosive Act to regulate the manufacture, storage, possession, use, distribution, purchase, sale, transportation, importation and exportation of explosives and for related matters. You're still on to Galaxy Television News. We'll now take a break. When we return, more news comes your way. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. This is the news on Galaxy Television. Now, for more updates and latest news, visit our website at www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Also, react with us and touch us on our Instagram page at official Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, simply share a story by saying short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly. You can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Now, the House of Representatives on Wednesday resolved to send in a high-powered delegation to pay a condolence visit to Plateau State government and to commiserate with the governor and the people of the state over incessant killings of citizens in the state. This followed a motion sponsored by the Representative Yusuf Gadki, who prayed the House to mandate the federal government to redeem earlier pledge of 10 billion naira for resettlement of victims.
It is important for us to know that the member that was just sworn in, we lost Haruna Maitala of Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency before the member from Lere died. So it beat my imagination that we have lost a colleague from Jos North Bassa where they have insecurity problem and where they should have representation on this floor of the House to speak for them. But election was conducted where a member was lost prior to the one lost in Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I urge you to take the issue of election in Jos North Bassa very serious, so that the people that are facing tremendous problem will have a representation in this hallowed chamber.
I stand to second the motion heavily moved by my honorable colleague Yusuf Adamu Gaddi. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Now, the Nigerian Customs Service has accused ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs of government, as well as Nigeria elite, of aiding and abating smuggling through patronizing smuggled vehicles. Assistant Comptroller General, ACG of Customs, in charge of modernization, Seidu Galadima, said this at a meeting with the House of Representatives Committee on Customs in Abuja.
Nigerian Customs Service need your support in this regard. Unfortunately, today, the big men in Nigeria, I didn't say National Assembly members, all their escort vehicles, Hilux, are smuggled vehicles. MDS, Ministry and Departmental of Government today, they patronize smuggled Hilux. And that's why if you go to our system, the number of Hilux importation has dropped, but you find there hundreds in town. Mostly they use them as escorts.
Chairman of the committee, Honorable Leke Abejide, appealed to the customs officials to offer a 3-month window for defaulters to pay duties on vehicles smuggled into the country. Abejide urged the customs to improve their checks as the House, he said, was working on the amendment of the Customs Excise Management Act, SEMA, to enable the agency work more effectively.
Now that we need more revenue, is to give maybe 3-month grace for everybody to come and pay duty, including those ministries that are using backup healers without duty payment, and whoever, other members or senator or whatever, or presidency, anywhere. For example, if this asset is 100,000 and the duty is 20%, so custom will take, government will take 20,000 naira. That's 20% of 100,000. Then custom will take 7% of the 20,000. So this cannot help custom to recruit. So that's one of the things we are doing. I'm just giving you what we are going to face.
And now to health-related matters, the National Association of Resident Doctors and the Nigerian government have agreed to return to the negotiation table to address the contending issues responsible for the almost 2-month-old doctors' strike. Galaxy's Godfrey Shimuga reports that this resolution by both parties followed consultations at the National Industrial Court in Nigeria on Wednesday. Here is the details of the report.
There was no immediate end in sight for the back-and-forth legal battle between the government and doctors at the beginning of hearing Wednesday. Counsel to the government, Tochukwu Maduka, had informed the court of an application seeking contempt proceedings against the leadership of the Doctors Association for failing to obey an ex parte order urging them to return to work. Femi Falana, counsel to the striking doctors, on the other hand, questioned the jurisdiction of the court to hear the matter. This giving rise to the controversy on whether to hear the matter of contempt or that on jurisdiction. Both parties subsequently reached a truce at the moment Justice Bashar Alkali rose to rule on the contending issues.
Counsel for the resident doctors, Chief Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, approached us on behalf of his clients, indicating that they want the matter to be settled and that his clients are prepared to go back to work. And the documents, some of the MOUs which we signed, which we had agreed on, which they had refused to sign, that they are ready to sign it now and return to work. So, and my lord came back, being that parties are taking this step to resolve this matter, and my lord felt it would be necessary to defer the court's ruling to the next adjournment.
Falana says the reason for conceding for the 48 hours is in the interest of the country's healthcare system.
We had consultations on both sides with our clients and the lawyers of the government. We've now agreed that we would like to come back on Friday to report the efforts we have made. There is an agreement, right, that was not signed by our client, right? We studied the agreement and we have advised our client that since there is a clause there that nobody shall be penalized or sanctioned for participating in the industrial action, that we believe that there should be no inhibition in signing the agreement.
The resident doctors say they are eager to return to work.
Within those 48 hours, we expect government to fulfill its part. While we, on our own part, we are very ready to go back to work as soon as possible. But the caveat that all the decisions as reached shall be done within 48 hours. We know members of the public are in dire need of our services. We are also in dire need to provide our services to the members of the public, and this we do with joy and pride for country and for God.
Ahead of Friday, 17th September, when the Industrial Court is to deliver its ruling on pending applications, Justice Bashar Alkali urges all parties to stop hostilities and resolve their differences in order to end the doctors' strike. Godfrey Shimuga, Galaxy News, Abuja.
And now, let's shift our focus away from that to other matters. As chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu says the commission lost 5 of its new bimodal voter accreditation systems, BVAs, at the just concluded State Assembly election in Isoko South 1. Professor Yakubu, who made disclosure at the welcoming ceremony of the newly appointed national commissioners in Abuja, said hoodlums suspected to be political thugs snatched the equipment. He said the theft did not affect the processes of the conduction of the election in Isoko South 1. The INEC chairman also noted that it was difficult to match voters' live images against the image on the register in few instances due to the quality of pictures of some voters arising from previous voters' registration, but assured that the commission will address challenges, including the installation of a mechanism to disable and track the device in the event of theft.
Of just 1 minute for the device to correctly locate the voter in the system and another 2 minutes to authenticate the voter. In terms of the ruggedness of the device and its battery life, no single BVAS was replaced due to discharge of battery throughout the voting period. Most importantly, the device was able to guarantee the credibility of voter accreditation by preventing the incidence of multiple voting or the use of stolen PVCs to vote. All voters were accredited electronically using the BVAS.
National Commissioner Sani Adams, who responded on behalf of the new officials, promised to lend support to the Commission's efforts to improving the integrity of the elections in the country.
Introduce, which has changed the university scene. So I'm very, very aware of what you can do. And of course, during the conduct of the 2019 election, I participated as a returning officer at gubernatorial level, as well as a collation officer at presidential level.
Youths across the country are called upon to come together as one united Nigeria to support the leadership of Governor Yahaya Bello towards his 2023 presidential ambition. This was made known to newsmen during a Southwest Youth Political Conference themed towards a youthful political consciousness and the 2023 general election. Bello, who was represented by his Chief of Staff, pharmacist Abdul Karim Asuku, and the guest speaker Shegun Olonode, both showed their commitment to ensuring peace, unity, and most importantly, change in the country and enrollment of youth and political offices by the year 2023. Galaxy's Daniel Tenimo gathered that Asuku said, "Gone are the days tribalism and religion divides the youth," noting that Bello is the youngest presidential aspirant who can relate, develop, and change the face of the nation if elected president.
Gone are the days that we are divided along religious line. The youth of this country, who constituted 70% of the population according to 2006 census conducted in this country, have what it takes to decide who will take over the mantle of leadership. Our senior citizens have a way of dividing us, and that is why I refer to it as the old norm. Several distractions have been sold to us. One of the distractions is that of what? The regional sentiment. Regional sentiment in the sense that it must be my brother that speaks the same language.
We today as Nigerian youth are saying the youth becoming the leaders of tomorrow. The tomorrow of yesterday is today. Hence, the Nigerian youth are very much ready and determined now to take the driver's seat come 2023.
And that is why we have come together as a Kenya youth that we need a change in our nation. We need a young generation to hold our nation so that we can stand, we can look.
And now, away from that, let's shift the focus to yet another story. Party politics, particularly as the All Progressive Congress says the party will enforce discipline and full compliance with the directives of the National Executive Committee, NEC, to severely sanction members who take the party to court. National Secretary of APC Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, CECPC, James Akpan-Udodohe, said, in line with the constitution of the party and the operating guidelines for the Local Government Congress, the party has set up appeal committees for members to vent their grievances and petitions.
With the membership registration exercise, world congresses, and the just concluded local government congresses. Of course, with the sheer magnitude of this exercise, there may be persons who could feel dissatisfied with the entire process. The party had set up this appeal committee.
Also speaking, former member of House of Representatives Patrick Obiahagbo encouraged all members of the party to take advantage of the appeal committee and enjoy full democracy.
To take advantage of the internal resolution democratic mechanisms of the party, may I use this opportunity to call on our party members who, rather than taking advantage of the democratic process of the party, withdraw their respective court cases from court.
And now to court matters. The Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed 11th October to rule on a suit to decide who has the required qualification academically to run for the chairmanship of the Buhari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. Incumbent chairman of the Area Council, John Sheikh-Wogaza of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is main aspirant caught up in the litigation ahead of the Area Council election scheduled for February 2022. One Hassan Zakari sued John Sheikh-Wogaza, his running mate Aminu Musa, alongside the party and INEC, claiming they manipulated the electoral processes to favor preferred aspirants in the primaries conducted April 2021. The plaintiff is also alleging that the main defendant is not qualified to contest the primaries on account of knowingly submitting forged educational documents contrary to sections 106, 107, and 31 subsection 5 of the Electoral Act. But counsel to the main defendants in the suit insists the plaintiff is not a registered member of the PDP and as such has no basis for instituting the lawsuit.
We are making the court to understand that if the plaintiff is not an aspirant or a political party, an aspirant of his party and or a political party, he does not have the locus, he does not have the legal standing to challenge the standing of the first and second defendant in the action. That is predicated under section 285, subsection 14, which defines a pre-election matter.
The enactment of section 31, sub 5 of the Electoral Act on anybody who has any knowledge, anybody, even if an expatriate, is because these are people that are aspiring to political offices, to be our leaders. There should no skeleton in their cupboard. Anybody who has knowledge, that's why it's allowed. Anybody. How can you be a candidate in election and your hands are soiled?
And now a coalition of civil societies have disclosed that 15 billion naira is yet to be accounted for from the 98.5 billion naira allocated for the payment of contractors by the Niger Delta Development Commission. The coalition said it has physically verified many of the projects which is said to have been at various stages of execution. They noted that 115 out of 176 projects highlighted by the Niger Delta Development Commission have been verified by the coalition. They said while many of the projects were abandoned, some were poorly implemented while others were not executed at all.
As you are aware, President Buhari commissioned the forensic audit to be conducted on NDDC and to cover the 2001 now to 2019. And that exercise was commissioned in 2019 by the President. But just a few days ago, we saw the Minister of Niger Delta presented that report to the President, who was represented by the Attorney General of the Federation.
EFCC and ICPC to look at these findings, these audit reports, and the reports we are presenting today, to act upon it and bring the people involved accountable for the money they've mismanaged.
The region doesn't deserve the kind of service that it's getting, both from contractors and from the federal government, as it were, or the commission, that's the NDDC. And the first thing to urge the federal government is that in the good spirit that it had conducted the forensic audit, it also makes the report public.
The management of the Niger Delta Development Commission has been subject of controversy in the past few years over alleged misappropriation of funds and award of contracts. As the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, goes to appeal court after losing to Rivers State in Federal High Court, Rivers on who should collect value-added tax in the state, it ignites the thought on the economic and political consequences of value-added tax if either side continues on the collection. Iribami Salako tells us more on the story.
The 7.5% value-added tax taxed on consumers generates approximately 1.5 trillion naira yearly which is divided among states in the federation. With so much money being generated, what difference does it make who collects the value-added tax, and what does each part stand to gain from collection?
Politics of VAT now might be one of the reasons why FIRS or any other state will want the FIRS to keep collecting it. Number one, if FIRS collects it, there is a distribution. Like 50% of VAT in Nigeria is generated from Lagos. But what comes back to Lagos is about 10%. So meaning that if the states are allowed, I'm being fair with you, if the states are allowed to collect VAT, it means that some states will become richer and some will go bankrupt.
It's a human thing anyway, that something that you used to have, somebody is now taking it over. You will do everything possible to ensure that you have started as a state advocating this, that we should have fiscal federalism. That's what we had before the military came in 1966 to now decree a unitary thing. We used to have regions then that were virtually autonomous. Whatever revenue they generated, they paid tax on it to the center, and then they used the what is left to develop their. That was how Awolowo was able to finance free education and do all those things that he did in the West in those days.
Nigeria seems to be heading towards a true fiscal federation, as some states have joined the race of passing the value-added tax bill. One begins to wonder what the consequences may be for the nation.
If there is a VAT law that allows the states to collect, it means that even for the contracts that are awarded at by the federal government, it is the FCT that will collect it, that will collect VAT on goods consumed in FCT and contracts awarded and services. So apparently, the federal government will be losing revenue greatly. Some states will make almost nothing. Beyond that, if you are interested in political autonomy, you are interested in judicial autonomy, you are interested in legislative autonomy, there is nothing wrong in insisting on fiscal autonomy as well. And if we are talking about fiscal autonomy, these are what we are talking about. Let each of the states grow at its own pace. Let the burden that is placed on the federal government be lightened.
The total sum of the revenues will grow up. And so the nation will definitely benefit as each state tries to generate funds for its own development, and as each state develops, the country is developing. So at the end of the day, the nation will benefit very maximally from the states increasing their own internally generated revenue.
Irebami Salako, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
You're tuned on to Galaxy Television News now. Let's take another break. When we return, we'll bring you more reports. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. This is News on Galaxy Television, and we totally appreciate your staying with us so far. And now to other stories. Super TV, in partnership with a telecommunication company, will be launching a no-data application which would benefit content creators and allow them to monetize their content. It is set up in a way to stop delaying buffering when users click to watch their favorite movies and series. Users can also stream from anywhere around the world without data subscription. Shooting with 30 other channels as well as more terrestrial television stations. The application will be available for download from 1st October 2021.
Super TV offering for Super TV from the world, eyeballs, right? We have access to real-time data. You can log into Super TV. Once Galaxy is on Super TV, you have your login password to the back end, okay? So you can actually see that 1 million, 2 million, 10 million people have watched Galaxy, and this is the number of minutes that they spent. Not just the way you have your YouTube that gives you all those. So you have data also now on the move, okay? And then we do cross promotion between the live TV channels and Super TV.
Has been described as the inability of clients to pay for services rendered. This was the submission of the former Delta Attorney General and senior advocate of Nigeria, Chief Charles Adria, while speaking with a correspondent in Warri. The senior advocate stressed that the level of poverty in Nigeria today has led to the free representation of justice to those who cannot afford it.
With the level of poverty and low liquidity in terms of finance, you find our clients unable to pay adequately for services that you render. In fact, for those of us who love the profession, most of the work we do.
Welfare officer of the NBA, Kunle Edon, calls for improved welfare service for magistrates as a senior lawyer spoke on difficult times for young lawyers.
The condition of service of magistrates and also the question of service of state council.
Work. Even those that get work.
And now two stories of national security interest. A United